In fact, it's how this show first started, Gord. Do you remember that? One of our first shows, we had the debate about whether
bring that
darts
up now.
was a
Because I said
sport.
darts isn't a sport. I still don't believe it's a sport, actually.
Oh, really? You
No,
still
I
don't?
don't.
I was going to say 6
No.
years on, I think that debate
No.
is done and dusted. I think
It's a skilled thing to do, but I don't recognise it as a sport. There's no physical or there's nothing, you just stand there and throw an arrow. That's it.
I was asked it at the Pembrokeshire Sport Awards, actually, by somebody because there was a darts player in the running for an award. And I said I believed it was a sport, but I draw the line at chess. And little did I know who was asking me was a big chess player, so that backfired.
Do you know,
I won't name them.
I did genuinely think 6 years on from when we did that debate that attitudes had changed, because I think that's very, very much a sport nowadays.
It's moved on a lot, and they're making a lot of money these days. But I don't put that down. Snooker is another one as well. Don't call that a sport either. Get out there, do a bit of running, play with a ball. You know what I mean? Football, rugby, cricket.
Bunch of people at the head, put a pair of gloves on.
Yeah. So you have to actually physically move, Gord. Is that what you're saying for it to be a sport? I mean,
now you're talking, Ben.
Yeah.
Now you're talking. You do a lot of that. You do a lot of running.
Yeah, I think there's
there's effort in it.
Yeah, honestly, we made the point to Declan. It's their ability to add up the numbers that I think I would struggle with. I'm a words man, not a numbers man. 100%.
They got machines to do that today, Ben. You don't have to use your head either.
It's a point, though, isn't it? They know the combination so quickly, and how to work them out.
Split-second judgment, don't they, to have to do that? Okay, wow. I thought that was going to be a simple yes. Darts is a sport when I said that.
Never straightforward.
Gordon sticks to his guns 6 years later. Still not a sport. We're going to talk local football in just a sec. Fraser, you were at Parker Scarlets over the weekend, weren't you? The Scarlets beaten 47-38 against Poe. That was an entertaining game. Defensive deficiencies, very, very evident for the Scarlets.
Yeah, look, I said this after the game. There were positives Dwayne Peel could take. They scored 6 tries. The Scarlets scored, I think, 5 tries, or 4 tries. They had a genuine attacking threat about them, which was badly lacking over the festive period against the Dragons and Ospreys in particular. But defensively, they're a disaster class at the moment. And you can't concede 14 tries in 3 games and point to ill luck. They were 26-10 and down and out on Saturday. They actually came back to 38-26. Lost in the end, 47-38. It's a great game, but a win was just so desperately needed to keep their European, a Welsh team qualifying for the knockout stages in the European Champions Cup would just have added some much needed positivity at the moment. And even at the final whistle, they said they were expecting 5,000. There wasn't 5,000 there. I'm convinced of that. And you sense the despondency, and it just underlined the current malaise.
I was going to ask how the atmosphere was, Fraser. It was
poor, Ben. There's no point pretending otherwise. It was a sparse crowd. It was poor. A noise got a bit up when the Scarlets were leading and stuff, but it soon fell silent when Poe got back in front.
Yeah, it's sad to hear that, isn't it? Because when Parker Scarlets is rocking, it's such a good venue, isn't it? And we've all been at Parker Scarlets when the atmosphere's been amazing. So
there's disillusionment about the club game in Wales at the moment, Ben, and that'll continue until there's some clarity and there's some success, to be honest with you. So I can't see Parker Scarlets being full for a while, and that is a real shame, no doubt about it. Let's come a bit closer to home, shall we? And let's look at some of the football from the weekend. And actually, the key game to call out, and I'll come to you on this one, Gordon, is at the bottom of the table, isn't it? Where Carew beat Fishguard by 4-2. Tenby were winners against Narberth 2-0. So what it means is Carew are out of those relegation spots. Yeah. Fishguard are very much back in trouble, aren't they?
Yeah. I thought I wasn't going to say this, Fraser, but I will. Carew were unbeaten this year. They've had back-to-back wins.
What's turned it around for them, do you think, interestingly good?
Jack Christopher has taken over as player-manager from Scott Richards. I think he's made a difference with the side that he's been picking and how they've played. And as I said, they've got 2 wins out of 2 since he's taken over.
And obviously Sam, a big player for them, is firing. So.
Yeah. Sam, his brother, Sam Christopher, had 4 goals last week. He was on the score sheet again last week as well. But it's not just that. They seem to have galvanised a little bit. James Hinchliffe is captain. He was at the beginning of the season. But they seem to have turned a corner when I thought at one time they maybe the team that will go down.
They start the season terrible.
Narberth again are relying heavily on Steph Williams. He scores most weeks, but the only problem is Narberth are leaking too many goals as well. So they're struggling. Fishguard Sports are struggling a little bit. They've lost their skipper, Patrick, from last week. Patrick Hughes. They've lost him. Chunky had a goal this week as well. He's still hanging around. It's going to be interesting. That bottom battle is more interesting than what the title race is this season.
I'd be very surprised if Kilgetty got out of it. I would say Kilgetty not as good as gone. There's a long way to go, but I would mark them down as one going down. It's about the other three now, and they're Carew, the ones of the three that are in form
at the moment.
It's looking at the moment, and pendulum will swing again, I'm sure. But it's looking at the moment between Narberth and Fishguard, and they're two sides badly out of form, really.
They are.
And Fishguard, with Pembrokeshire, who's the first team we look for in a West Wales Cup draw, it tends to be Penlan in the last couple of years. And Fishguard, you think a bit of a cup run at least. They're through to the last 16 in the West Wales. Who have they drawn? Penlan at home.
I might just play Goodwick this Saturday.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
they do.
So
one thing just to note though is that Fishguard have played only 11 games in the league. So
that's
got
true.
3 games in hand. Over Narberth and Carew. So, although they have slipped into the bottom two with those games in hand, and you always say points on the board are really important, but that does give them a bit of hope if they can get those games in hand right. They might be able to pull out. You say at the top, we've said for a few weeks now, nothing's really going to stop Hakin, and they're just on the rampage, aren't they? Really, they're scoring goals for fun. They put 7 past Kilgetty, who, as you say, have got their own problems right now. Goodwick United won at Clarbeston Road, but another week, guys, and the Hakin machine just rolls on, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, I said last week when it was actually Moncton who took advantage of Hakin being in cup action. The only chance of the teams below them was to win when Hakin aren't in cup action, narrow the gap and hope Hakin do slip up with a backlog of games. It's not showing any signs at the moment. They've still got to play Goodwick twice, and they will be, I think, fighting on 3 fronts the way it's looking towards the end of the season. So, they've still got work to do. They won't be complacent by any means. But, the result was actually interesting. Goodwick, that's a narrow win at Clarby. That was important, the Rhys Jones penalty. But with St. Ishmael's against Merlin's Bridge. Wow. I'm told by people who were there, I wasn't there myself, so I'm not going to weigh in on that. It wasn't a dirty game, and it wasn't anything like that the card suggested. No. But it was still 4 red cards. I think it finished 10 against 8. And Mike Preddy won't be happy. Whatever the cards were for, whether they were soft or not, to be 2-0 down late on and have an extra 2 players sent off, it looks, on paper, if nothing else, it looks unnecessary. I don't know if you can share.
Yeah, well, the last 2 sending offs, it was just, dissent, I think it was. They'd already had a yellow card, had something else to say to Mr. Boswell, and it was going to have a shower.
Yeah.
So, it's unfortunate, really. It was a close game. I mean, Tish didn't score until about the hour mark. It was 0-0 up until then.
It was 10v10 at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 10 versus 10 then. And Merlin's Bridge had lost their goalkeeper. They had their goalkeeper sent off, Ben Henton. So I presume, I don't know because I didn't ask the question, I presume Peter Thomas would have gone in goal because he did earlier in the season when they didn't have a goalkeeper off the bench. But yeah, it's a disappointing result for Merlin's Bridge, but Tish have had a great season.
I think it's an important win for Tish though, because they had that hammer blow against Goodwick. It could have deflated them.
Yeah.
And
well, you were there,
yeah, and they bounced back and won that. So we'll see what this Saturday brings. I think, touch wood, we've got a clear forecast for Saturday. Good, that'll change multiple times in the next few days. But we need, it's a serious point. We talked about the rugby earlier, and it is a factor. We need teams playing regularly now because it can disillusion boys and it can demotivate them. And it's been a brutal period. The only nice weather we had was over Christmas when there were no games scheduled. We've had bad times either side of that. So I hope that whatever happens between now and May in both codes, we just get regular Saturday action.
All right. Last weekend we featured a game that I think it was 25-0, wasn't it, to Fishguard? Was it Fishguard?
Wow. Yeah, Johnson seconds. Was a bit wet this week.
Biggest one I think I can see this week was in Division 5. Milford United thirds 15, Kilgetty thirds 0. I think it was the biggest one. So another big margin there. We had the FA Cup, and we're going to finish with that on the show now before KT takes over. Fraser, were you at the Swansea game, going out against West Brom on penalties.
I was indeed, actually. It was quite an exciting cup tie the way it finished. You didn't sense there was a great deal riding on it for either side. They both made changes, but Swansea did a cheaper cup scheme. You have to do that, unfortunately, these days to fill a ground for an FA Cup tie. But I was there till the bitter end, until the last penalty was missed, Ben, and I was very wet by the end of it. Gordon meant the lovely weather Saturday, not so much in Swansea Sunday. No. But I have seen just now West Brom draw Norwich away, so they can go there. Had they the plum tie at home, I would have been a little bit annoyed, maybe.
I noticed as well, Joe Allen confirmed as sticking around on the coaching staff as well, isn't he? Swansea, which is good to see. So is the magic of the FA Cup alive? Well, not for me particularly. I thought Tottenham were pretty bad on Saturday against Aston Villa. I watched that game. We were poor first half, and I don't know. I think could Thomas Frank be the next one to get pushed? I think that is on the cards, because it wasn't very good on Saturday. It really wasn't. Second half was better, but I think when you're 2 down and then start playing, you got the question from the beginning. I did enjoy. I don't know, Gord, did you watch the lunchtime game on Saturday? Did you see Macclesfield, Wayne Rooney's brother?
Well, that's the romance of the cup, isn't it? That's exactly what you want to see on in an FA Cup tie. 6th tier beating the FA Cup holders. It's made of dreams, isn't it?
You need moments like that. Look,
you do.
It'll never be the tradition of what it was, right? The game
has changed.
Replays have been cut. Premier League sides, it's not always a priority. They use it to rotate their squad. Kickoff times, television, it could be end. But it is still nice to see moments like that, and it mean a lot to smaller clubs. To be fair to them, and
I thought that was a really good advert for the FA Cup.
It was.
And evidence, because Palace didn't field a particularly weak side either. They had some decent players out there, but evidence. Mark Gay captained, Adam Wharton in midfield. Brennan Johnson came on at half time, didn't he? And it's evidence really that if Premier League teams don't take any football match seriously, then that can happen. And actually, good on Macclesfield for winning that. Fraser, notice when we were talking about the romance of the FA Cup, it was a great game, but you didn't pick out Wrexham 3, Nottingham Forest 3. Wrexham winning on penalties. You weren't feeling all that romantic about that one, though?
I know. I will say that was an epic cup tie as well, and that episode.
That's cruel. That is. That's cruel.
That episode will sit very well in the next documentary series just after the Christmas one when they lost to Swansea. But yeah, no.
I couldn't do that to my mate.
to be fair, that was a ding dog of a cup tie as well, not on a Friday night. And
it was.
Ron Dyche was visibly annoyed afterwards, and that was good to see as well that he actually called his players out, because
don't play along with it.
Well, if you were what I'm playing along with, if you were from Nottingham and you'd gone all the way to North Wales on a Friday night for that, you wouldn't be overly impressed, especially extra time as well. I don't think you would have been home by the lunchtime kickoff Saturday. So,
and Gord, one for you: Manchester City 10, Exeter City 1.
Yeah,
what about that?
It was great to see Semenyo get his first goal and assist. There was 8 others besides mine, but fair play. He's worth his 65 million move from Bournemouth.
I did like the cheer
just on that performance.
I did like the cheers at 9-0 down when Exeter scored, and the crowd enjoying their moment. That was good to see. Yeah, that was one we maybe won't file under giant killing anytime.
Yeah, absolutely right. I quite enjoyed it. I think it was a good FA Cup third round week.
It was a great FA Cup round.
Yeah,
and we didn't even mention my team, but it's the end of the show now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're done now, Gordon. I'm afraid we're out of time. You got away with it again. It'll be Michael Carrick at the wheel this time next week. So
who knows?
Yeah. All right. Listen, we will be back next Monday night, of course, on Pure West Sport from 7 till 9. KT has got the mood train. He is ready to go, taking over after 9. We will see you next week. Good night.
Someone's has to shout about you.